What is going on, guys? It is your boy, TKD Winter D here, back here again with another Cross Circle podcast. I know you're asking, what is this? What is going on? And the week that you're watching this right now, your boy, as in me, is out of town. One might say I'm TKD Winter D far from home. One might say I am out of the country. So, in order to make sure content is still flowing on the channel, I decided to take the Cross Circle podcast hosting gig away from Christian just for this week. He's busy as well, so I figured I'd take it and bring on some friends of mine that we talk about gaming and stuff like that a lot. I introduce you all to the Game Speak podcast. You both can introduce yourselves.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jamel.
I'm Brent, and we are two that form one and become Game Speak podcast.
Yeah, we're just chilling in our living room on the couch, bro-op couch, which is like, well, we do our like multiplayer videos or whatever on YouTube. But yeah, so if you see a dog walk in here, that's just the dog. You might even hear him drinking water, being annoying.
I'm sure the dog has plenty of details and tidbits and opinions he wants to bring to the podcast. Whenever the dog's in frame, we're gonna shout them out as per usual. And also, I was gonna make a comment. I like this setup you guys are on. I like it, And if I may, it looks a little bit like a casting couch. That's what I was gonna make the joke of, but you know what? It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is we've already been casted.
Ooh.
So,
all right.
We've already done the dirty work, if you know what I'm saying.
Kevin doesn't tell you guys what goes on.
Listen, man. Listen.
We're off camera.
We had to work hard for this spot on the podcast.
We have a nice private channel in the PlayStation Store's Discord. You know what I'm saying? We have a nice private channel there. Some things go down. Video calls, you know what I'm saying? Videos get shared. You never know. You never know. But this, of course, is the Cross Circle podcast. It is weekly here on PlayStation Source, youtube.com/PlayStation Source to be more specific. And also, we are now on podcast services. So if you're interested in listening to us in audio format, whether you're at the gym, on the way to work, doing homework, grinding out a game, whatever you want to do, you can listen to us audio only on podcast services around the globes. Wow, that was a straight rip from Greg Miller. Anyway, you can find our anchor link down below where we have links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, all the good stuff where you can find our links down below at the PlayStation Source podcast feed. Just go on your podcast service of choice and you should be able to search up PlayStation Source podcast feed and you should be okay. But so this is, again, like I said, Cross Circle podcast. This is kind of weird because I don't think I've ever hosted a Cross Circle before. Usually it's Christian, so this is going to be very much of a different flair. I have my own type of show we do on the channel, which is Road to Part 2, a weekly series about Last of Us Part 2 and all things Last of Us and stuff like that. But this is kind of my first time, I think, hosting Cross Circle, which is going to be pretty cool. So to kind of just, I guess, take us on this journey into the topic, right? I want to talk to you too. So I know, it is Game Speak podcast. So I'm assuming it's kind of all things gaming. I don't think it's like PlayStation specific. So
no.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right.
We hate PlayStation. No, I'm just kidding. We came on here just to destroy it. No, we're not like any specific console or whatever. We talk about all things gaming.
I have all the consoles except for a high-end PC.
Right. That's not a console.
Which
I feel like it counts, though. Like there's some stuff you can do.
I get berated and bagged on for working on a Mac, and I'm like, guys, like, listen, at least for me, right? If I'm going to be editing, I want a Mac. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's it.
Who's knocking you for using a Mac?
Some feel like, people are. They're like, oh, you can edit on a PC and game on a PC. And I'm like, yeah, but like...
Macs are nice computers,
That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Well, the problem is, they're just not customizable. I feel like that's what everybody's saying.
Is it like a MacBook?
It is. Well, I have an iMac and a MacBook Pro. I use kind of both.
The MacBook Pro is pretty good, dude. I don't know,
I love my Macs. I love Macs. But
it's perfect for what you do.
Absolutely. I guess mainly I wanted to ask is like, in terms of PlayStation, like what are some of your favorite games? What have you liked so far this generation? You know what I'm saying? Just like overall, just kind of like a general I'll let you guys kind of take the sales on this, but like just generally speaking, what are your kind of thoughts on PlayStation as a whole? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I gotta say, I have all three major consoles from this generation, and my PlayStation definitely gets the most love, you know? And I think it has a lot to do with, like, the VR on PlayStation.
Really?
I'm really into PlayStation VR. I just feel like it's got a lot of great exclusives, you know, and, like, I don't know, man. I love it. And, I mean, that's not the only reason. I play a lot of other stuff on PlayStation. Like, I have some games on both consoles, like Xbox and PlayStation.
Right.
And I feel like most of my games look better on PlayStation, too. I have, like, just the original, you know, PlayStation and the original Xbox, you know. So, obviously, I think if I had, like, a 1X Xbox, I'm sure it would look way better, you know. But just the original of both, I feel like... I don't know. I love my PlayStation, man.
Hey,
Something about it.
Hey, I mean, you know, the best place to play. You know what I'm saying? But Christian,
as far as games this year, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that, you know, in just the PSVR, Christian is definitely a big fan of PSVR. He has one. He loves it.
We gotta talk.
Yeah. He is obsessed with Tetris Effect. He's obsessed with that game. I have tried PSVR once. I don't own one yet. I'm just waiting on it. I'm waiting on the second generation of it to have like less wires and less setup to do it. But I know it's great.
Yeah,
but
I'm excited, and I know for a fact they said that they confirmed that the current generation PSVR will be compatible with the PS5. So that's really exciting to me. That I'm not just gonna have to like immediately go out and buy a new headset if I want, and it'll probably be better looking on all the games that I can play. You know, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But, you know, as far as what you said earlier, like games that I've played this year, like PlayStation games that I've played this year, you know, you got to give it to God of War. I know that might be like late last year or something.
It was April 20th, 2018.
Man, that is just one of the best damn games I've ever, probably the best game I've ever played. I mean, this, like, graphically, definitely the best game I've ever played. It looks so good, dude. Like
100%. For me, I don't obviously bias, but I don't think there has been a game that has reached that level of quality and reception and overall kind of viewpoint of that game since Last of Us. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I was going to say since maybe like Grand Theft Auto 5, actually, which I feel like came out a little after The Last of Us, you know?
Yep.
But 100%. I don't know, man. Red Dead 2 actually was really high quality also, but but even so, man, it's just like there's so much attention to detail in that game, and like the story, if you're a fan of God of War, is like so deep and emotional. The Spider-Man game that came out pretty recently was really good too.
Very good as well. Yep.
I know it's older, but I just recently got around to playing Horizon Zero Dawn also.
Oh, Horizon's a banger. Banger. Absolutely.
That is a great game, man.
I love Horizon. Oh, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, so there's some wonderful exclusives for PlayStation that we
100%. Absolutely.
I'm on our next Couch Bro Op, I'm going to make Jamel play Detroit Become Human.
Detroit is great. Detroit is such a good one.
Oh, it's such a good one, man.
And it's free
right now
on PS Plus. Yep. You heard it right.
It's the deluxe edition too, so if you don't have Heavy Rain already, you can get that with it too, which is pretty sweet.
This man is about to take my job. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Listen, you got it. But Jamal, do you have any like standout PlayStation games that you like as well, or?
So I'm the hack here. Basically, I'm just along for the ride, but at the same time, I've already mentioned this on our podcast, GameSpeak podcast, before, not too long ago, that in this next gen, this next gen cycle that's coming up, I might have to go PlayStation because there's this E3 didn't really make any promises or like any promising announcements for me that I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to go Xbox. And you know, I kind of got. Are you allowed to cuss on this show? I don't know what the deal is. Should I not cuss on this show?
It's all fucking good to me, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Look, man, I don't know when Christian hosts this show, but listen, we have TKD in the hosting spot. It's all good. We are here.
Put that explicit label this time.
I got fucked by the Xbox One generation. You know, like 360 was my jam.
360 was a good generation.
The original Xbox was my jam. Even though I know PS2 was more popular, I've always been an Xbox and a Nintendo kid. But really, Xbox One generation, man, besides Game Pass really killing it, I'm I feel like I just got shammed. You know,
Right,
like
yeah.
I was over here fanboying and just wasting an entire generation that I could have been on
Man.
PlayStation playing good exclusives, you know. So there is a lot of stuff that I played at Brent's, you know, or with Brent, and I'm about to play Detroit. I'm excited to try that out. A lot of PSVR games with Brent, but
Right.
as for like, I didn't get to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't get to play Spider-Man yet. Like, there's so many games I haven't got to play yet
The
because
good
all I have
news
is
is when
Xbox.
next generation rolls around, most of that stuff, if not all of it, will probably be backwards compatible.
As
And
far as
it
I'm
will
aware, they have said every game. They've said
see, there
all
you
of them
go.
as backwards combat.
So if you get you a PS5, not only
Decide.
that, but like those games will be like $20 by then, you know. So you'll just go
Boom.
spend a couple $20 bills, have some of the greatest games you ever played.
That
Yeah,
works
it's
out.
really, it's like I'm excited. You know, I'm a little upset that I have to leave the Xbox, but you know, I'll do what I have to do. And my only thing is getting used to the DualShock controller. You know,
It
having
doesn't
the
take as long as you'd think you would. Like I was really worried about that too because I'm just like the way the Xbox analog sticks are positioned was just made for my hands, you know. But I've gotten
yeah.
to the point where I adapt by holding the DualShock at like an angle kind of, and like I hold the left stick on the DualShock up here. I don't know, it works for me. I'm actually better with the PlayStation controller now for some reason. I don't know.
They they just need to make cross controller, you know, where
Dude,
like you can
yes.
just play with.
Cross control. I know they have third party controllers for PlayStation that are the form factor of the Xbox and more specifically like the sticks, how they're oriented like in that diagonal type of orientation instead of
I
side by
saw
side.
one like that, but
Yeah,
it was
I know they
really
have that.
expensive. Like,
They are, yeah, they are really pricey. But to get mainly to the topic at hand here,
Yeah,
not to
sorry about
not to not to
that.
not to stifle I love the
no, you're
conversation,
right.
not to
You're right.
stifle it, but I wanted to bring up games, specifically, is because there's been a lot of talk, right? Talk on these streets, if you will, about certain studios that have worked with PlayStation, whether it be second party studios or third party studios that have had exclusives on PlayStation hardware, if they're going to be bought by PlayStation, because there is one in particular that I guess we'll touch on first. I guess is Remedy. Now, I guess cool. Well, not that I wasn't cool, but like I'm thankful that we have someone here that was mainly Xbox in the past, as far as I'm aware. Jamal, right?
Right.
Pretty much, right?
That's me.
So
Yeah.
Remedy, they are known for
Alan
Alan
Wake.
Wake.
Alan Wake. I know Quantum Break was on Xbox as well. Don't know if you played that. But recently, as of this recording, during the week of this recording, Remedy got the opportunity to buy back the rights of Alan Wake, and there's been talks about they didn't necessarily say we aren't going to put it on PS4, but they say now that the Alan Wake games are now open to be going on different platforms. They just said it very vague, but one can put two and two together and be like, all right, it could come to PS4, right? So I guess I want to ask, like, what do we feel about Remedy? I don't know if you've played Alan Wake. If you've played Alan Wake, is it good? I've never played it. One over here.
I played a little bit of Alan Wake.
Yeah,
It is
same.
good. It is good.
It's
It's
good?
it's got a huge cult following. It's one of those
Right.
games that's got a lot of people that really like it. Like, it's not the best game ever.
No.
I'd give it a solid like 7.5 out of 10 or something.
You
Right.
gotta be careful around the Alan Wake fans, though. You can't
Yeah.
be
I
saying
hear,
shit like that.
I hear. I can't be like, hey man, like I heard it was alright, but I don't know. But
I will say this though, that Quantum Break game,
Mhm.
that game was trash in my opinion, dude.
Trash.
I could not get into it at all, and I really wanted to because I like the actor who plays the main guy, and Willem Dafoe's in it. They had like some really high quality actors like
Yeah.
mocapped into the game and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So like,
They
I
had-
thought I would love it.
What's his name? The dude from Smallville.
Yeah.
Who plays what's the guy?
I can't remember.
I
The guy
forgot.
played-
I don't.
Takes the pictures.
He's got the Iceman from X-Men. Yeah.
I see.
But I don't know, man. That game wasn't very good to me. But that new one that's coming out looks
Control.
really good. Control.
Yes. Control is as. Oh wait. I gotta make sure. Is Control multi-platforms?
I think so. Yeah, I
Is
want
it?
to say so. I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know.
about that.
I don't know why I feel like Control is exclusive to PlayStation, but I know it's not. but I feel like
I don't
it
think
is.
so. If anything, it's exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah,
because I think they were showing it off at the Xbox.
Oh wait,
show.
Here we go. Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. Yeah, so it is multiple platforms. So it is coming to PS4 and Xbox. But that is their next game here. And so there just have been talks a lot that like Sony might be eyeing this studio to buy. And so I guess I wanted to just ask, like, as a whole, like, would you consider that a pretty good purchase? Because at least to me, right, like looking at, again, I haven't seen a lot of gameplay. I haven't played any of these games, but looking at Max Payne, looking at Quantum Break, looking at the upcoming Control, which comes out next month, it looks like PlayStation kind of already has studios that do a similar type of genre to Remedy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was actually just about to say, it seems kind of right up their alley with like
exactly.
the story focused, like third person shooter style kind of game.
Like, that's what like they remind me of. Is like honestly, I would have been not surprised if somebody was like, "Oh, Detroit was made by Remedy."
Well, see, they have more gunplay and stuff in their games, though. Detroit is more like they actually have some like shooter elements in most of their games, especially like Quantum Break and that Control game coming out. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they did the game PsyOps back in the day for the original Xbox. Hang on, I'm gonna look that up to make sure I'm not just saying some bullshit. But that game was awesome. If it is the
I see. Yeah. Because mainly I feel like Remedy and their games, they are stick to that, at least as far as I'm aware.
Oh, I'm sorry. PsyOps was Midway Games.
PsyOps was Midway. Okay. That like third person shooter, action adventure story narrative game. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like PlayStation has Naughty Dog that does exactly that. They have Sucker Punch that not shooter, but if you count shooting powers out from your hand shooting, then that falls into that. Now Guerrilla is doing a similar aspect to that. Not guns, but a similar type of third person. Sorry, they had more of an RPG type of style to Horizon, so I'll give it that. But overall, I feel like
you can even look at the new God of War game kind of like
absolutely,
that.
Absolutely, yep.
But see, I think anything Remedy puts out is going to be a lot slower paced than all that. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay. I see. Yeah.
So I think even like The Last of Us, I think it'll be like The Last of Us, but like way easier and slower paced and more focused on like the cinematic aspects of everything.
Less good.
Yeah, less good.
But less good. Well, I will
have
said.
Maybe if they had that PlayStation money, though,
That is true. I will have said because I think if Sony were to buy Remedy, it can go either way. It can go either, people might think that this is a what am I trying to say? Like, it could just fall into a similar category as those and kind of be not looked as great or fondly in the shuffle because Sony already has studios that do similar games, or it could be a just really additive thing and like it could add that quality that it could bring something new to the table in terms of like narrative. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. With that one, I'm saying it's kind of but did I even say the topic of this episode? I did.
No, you didn't. I was about to be like, so are we doing the topic?
I didn't. Listen, this is my ship. Okay, this is
how we do it.
I am this is what happens when the boy hosts. Okay, so we are looking at different studios. Wait, I think I did. We are looking at different studios that Sony could potentially buy. That are second party.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure.
We were like right on the cusp of it. We were like talking. We were like, okay, but we went so far into Remedy that we didn't bring up the idea of like any type of studio that could be taken in by Sony.
Okay, well, at least it's not laid out. Remedy, I'm deeming as kind of likely just because we have heard a lot of things going on with Sony and Remedy. Something's happening with there. So we'll just leave that at that. Now, the next one I want to bring up here does some PSVR work.
I love that.
Wait. Yes, super massive games.
I actually have them on. I thought up a few ideas myself and
cool.
made a little list of things, and they were one of the people that I was thinking is definitely going to get bought by Sony. I mean, It just makes sense.
Well, I am referencing a Push Square article that I will link down in the description. I'll link down there. That's a few studios that I'm going to just go over, but super massive games is the next one. They did Until Dawn.
Which was a PlayStation exclusive.
It was
which
exclusive.
is very important to note. You know?
Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of Until Dawn, to be honest.
Oh, I loved it. It's one of my favorite games ever, man. I love it so much.
I liked it when I first played it, and then like on hindsight, like after I kind of thought about it, I'm like, like it's not that good.
I played that game like 3 times in a row, dude.
I don't know.
I still love it.
Maybe I'm tripping. Like for me, I don't know. It just didn't run that well on my PS4, at least. I don't know.
Really?
I just wasn't.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, I was on a base. It was before I got a Pro. I got a PS4 Pro when God of War came out. I bought it specifically for God of War.
Oh man.
Pro. But I thought it was a pretty okay game. But for the PSVR crowd, they did Until Dawn: Rush of Blood.
Right.
They have done that as well. So some VR work. I don't know if you've played it. I've played that actually.
I have played it. It's excellent. I feel
thought
like
it was fun. Yeah.
It came with my VR headset. It was the game that I got with my thing, and it was really cool. I had a lot of fun with it. But they also did that other game in VR, The Inpatient, and that game was actually
they did do that?
Kinda,
I forgot.
Yeah, that game was like critically panned by everybody. Everybody hated it, except for me. I think I was maybe the only person who liked it. And it was like a prequel to Until Dawn, like a little 3-hour short version of Until Dawn in VR. And it was so tight, but everybody just fucking hated it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I might be a bad person to judge on that one, but they have dipped their feet in, and it's been mostly exclusive PlayStation stuff up until their next coming game, which I think is on all consoles.
About to bring up, So now they are kind of shifting away from putting their stuff only on PlayStation consoles, and they're doing the Dark Pictures Anthology, which is a similar type of template and kind of format to the Until Dawn game, but it's going to be episodic as well. The whole thing is called the Dark Pictures, but each individual chapter is completely separate from all the other chapters. Like it's just like a brand new experience, brand new characters, different story. I'm sure maybe they'll have some light things that touch on it, kind of like what's that one series? Oh my god, everyone loves it. It's like where like each season is different, but they have similar. It's a American Horror Story. Yeah, that it's kind of like that where like each episode will be different from the others, but I'm sure they'll have like different aspects that kind of tie into all of them in terms of like monster design and stuff like that. But that's what they're doing up next, and I think why I'm a little less inclined to believe that they would ever be bought by PlayStation, which I would have said around Until Dawn era, and when they were making stuff for PSVR, I would have been like, yo, this is a given, like in the next few years, probably gonna happen. But I think against it now because they are putting Dark Pictures on, kind of their all the platforms, you know what I'm saying? And and I feel like, once a developer kind of does that, it's kind of hard to reel them in unless they have like a big upfront cash to actually purchase it. I was about to
say, I think if it comes down to it, it'll be like a big lump sum that gets them to come. But I think, it all really depends on how well this Man of Medan game comes out, their first chapter of the Dark Pictures anthology, because I think that, if it ends up doing well, they have a pretty good working relationship with PlayStation as it is,
Yeah.
And PlayStation might see that it could be like lucrative for them if they end up doing really well with this game. And I don't know, maybe they'll make an offer or something,
Right. I see. Interesting. My next studio here I want to talk about is I'm just going to start this discussion with a little question, okay?
Okay.
I would regard this game as being a little bit controversial, one might say. You know what I'm saying? Some people cannot wait for this game. Other people still don't know what it is. And that is Death Stranding. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on Kojima Productions' Death Stranding. Let me know. Someone
you want to know my real thoughts?
What are your genuine thoughts?
I'm angry that they're not doing Silent Hills anymore. I don't give a shit about fucking Death Stranding.
Whoa. You can't say that on PlayStation.
I'm sorry, bro.
I can agree that it does look like a bunch of just convoluted nonsense at this point. But Kojima's not one to disappoint. So like, and that's coming from an Xbox guy. Like I love, and I mean, Metal Gear Solid was, multi-platform, and I like that's one thing. Is this game going to be PlayStation exclusive?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
So I don't know. I like Kojima. I like Norman Reedus. I love Troy Baker. I mean, there's a lot of like things about this game that I like. You know, I just don't. I don't know. Every trailer I've seen
still
is just
attached to this.
Yeah. Not only is he
Guillermo del Toro?
attached, but he's a character in.
He's
the
a
game.
character in the game. Yeah, he is. Yeah. So I mean, okay. So here's my brief thoughts. So I had an interesting road with Death Stranding ever since it first got announced. You know what I'm saying? And let me just preface, because I get comments every time. I understand the importance of Hideo Kojima in the industry. I mean, no disrespect to the man. I understand he is an icon in the industry. I understand Metal Gear games are great. I never played a Metal Gear game.
What?
I may preface that as well. Never played one. So, but I understand he's important, right? I understand that. However, up until they released their last trailer in May, which had the full blowout trailer, it was like an 8-minute trailer where they announced a release date, able to pre-order, all that good stuff, whatever. Back in May, I don't know if you guys remember that whole thing. But up until that point, I was not sold on the game. I thought it just looked weird, just for the sake to be weird. And from people telling me about Kojima's style, I understand that that's kind of like his style. You know, he likes to make things just weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's just his niche. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, I will say after the trailer, and I've said this a bunch of times, I am now sold on the game. I will be getting and playing Death Stranding.
Oh, I'm gonna get it and play it.
Yeah.
Don't mistake what I'm saying as like I'm not gonna play it, because I'm definitely playing that shit. Probably day one. You know what I mean?
I was not sold. I was not sold until the latest trailer they put out. I was not gonna get it.
Even the latest trailer, still, I still don't understand what's going on. Honestly, out of all the Metal Gear Solids that I have played, which I've played quite a bit of them, and I don't know, like, I still don't understand what's going on in those games.
Me either, for the most part.
To be real. Like,
have you guys played Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, dude, yeah, that's just as confusing.
Okay,
as
but which story is more confusing? Kingdom Hearts or Metal Gear?
Kingdom Hearts, for sure.
Is more confusing? Okay.
I feel like, yeah, in my opinion, because once you get down to like the later Kingdom Hearts, like the most recent one, it's like it doesn't even make sense.
But then all you got to do is buy Metal Gear Solid 2.7, like
it's insane. It's insane.
The ultimate backlog Discord, and then you just put that in, and like suddenly you know why Donald Duck is fucking the frozen lady.
Because it took Christian 2 full podcasts back to back to explain to me the entirety of Kingdom Hearts. They were long. They're on the channel if I want to go watch it, but he made
the
PowerPoints.
fact that he can even explain it
Dude,
in that amount of time is a miracle. Like,
honestly, it was incredible. He made PowerPoints. He went over every single game. it was honestly, watch those, because it is remarkable. Like, that is some of like the work that I am so proud of in this channel. But beside the point,
awesome.
but the likeliness of Kojima Productions being bought by Sony, how we feel about it. Me, I feel it's pretty likely.
Yeah, it all depends on how well it does. I think, if it comes out and, well, I guess like it's gonna sell well, no matter what, it's gonna sell. But how does it do critically,
right.
And how does the audience that does purchase it on day one, and how does everybody actually respond to it? Is it like huge hype for like a long time, or does it come out and suddenly just no one cares because it's not as good as everyone expected it to be?
Because also in terms of, okay, we all, I'm sure, are pretty much well aware, I won't go over the full details, but the whole Kojima Konami deal with Metal Gear Solid 5, that whole fallout of them two, Kojima leaving Konami, but Sony had a big part on bringing Kojima Productions even to fruition, right? Like, Sony helped out Kojima a lot with establishing the studio, and even if you guys, I'm sure you guys are aware as well, Death Stranding is actually running on the Guerrilla Games engine. I forgot the engine.
Oh, wow.
Off the top of my head. Decima. The Decima engine, which ran Horizon Zero Dawn. They are using that engine for Death Stranding. So even, with that and, with those key things, where like we have a studio right now that is working with a Sony development software. What am I saying? Engine. Sorry, I forgot the word. Like they're already utilizing a engine that's owned by PlayStation, owned by Sony. That, as far as I'm aware, I don't think you can just use Decima like you could use like Unreal or use like any of those other third party, not third party, but like open source type of engine development, game engine development. I said those words again. Why did I do that? Those engines like. I'm pretty sure Decima is owned by Sony. You know what I'm saying? So to have this studio that was helped being raised by Sony, Kojima Productions, and already using a Sony-owned engine, I think it's owned by Sony, that seems pretty plausible that they could honestly buy a PlayStation. Like maybe if Death Stranding, like you said, does great, does insanely good, I think I could see this happening for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be like just putting the puzzle piece together. They're already there. Like they might as well just be like, hey, you want to just hang out? You just want to stay here?
I think the only way I could see this not being like completely plausible is if Death Stranding just flops somehow, which I can't see that happening. You know what I mean?
And even then, I bet you like Xbox, or not Xbox, I bet you Microsoft swoops back in, because I know he was already offered a deal from Microsoft, and I imagine, I don't know if this is like official, but I imagine even Nintendo was offering him something,
Yeah,
like
sure.
You gotta imagine everybody was trying to get a hold of it.
100%. Man, so, I'm trying to think, how would a Kojima Nintendo game? I assume it'd be just mainly just narrative stuff.
I mean, they had the game on GameCube that was like an exclusive Metal Gear Solid. What was it? It was like Twin Snakes or something.
Was that on GameCube?
Oh, yeah. I'm totally unaware of that. I
thought that was on PSP. Or no, I'm thinking of Snake. No, that's the card game one.
You're thinking of Acid.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Metal Gear Acid. Yeah, that was the game.
There was a Nintendo exclusive, like that was like a remake of the original. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's gonna be a positive thing, no matter what. People can't get over Kojima for some reason.
Right.
He's just like, he's Kojima. He's a superstar.
Absolutely.
He's like above. And I think even if the game does bad, I think they're gonna look at it in the circumstances of like, well, he had just left like a bad relationship. Then like
he's going through a breakup right now. He's going through a breakup, man.
He's got a lot on his mind,
right.
And he didn't have as much time as he usually does to work on things, and I think they understand that. So like, even if it doesn't do well, I think the game's gonna do great.
Right.
If it's not the best game ever, it'll still be one of the greatest games
I think
they could have.
I think there is a chance that just to kind of end the Death Stranding talk, I feel like Death Stranding could easily, I won't say easily, I think there's a imagine I'm Doctor Strange, you know what I'm saying, and I see 14,905 different features with the time zone, you know what I'm saying. I see a future where Death Stranding does bad critically, right? But I don't think Death Stranding could ever fail commercially. At this point, I think you're right. I don't see a way where it doesn't. I don't see it. I don't know.
Now I can see a world where the game after Death Stranding does bad commercially because of Death Stranding doing bad critically. You know what I mean? But I can't see Death Stranding itself doing bad.
I can't see
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because even if it's bad, people want to play it just to see what it is.
Yeah, it's like that agony game,
Yeah. And plus, it's just Kojima, like it's just that Kojima sauce. But another studio that might as well be a PlayStation bot and first party, a little studio called Insomniac Games. They were behind the Spyro trilogy, Spyro the Dragon, I believe, the trilogy. Pretty sure.
Yes.
No, I think wasn't that Toys for Bob?
Toys for Bob did the like reignited trilogy, but
the original
Insomniac made the Spyro trilogy.
You're right.
Spyro the Dragon.
But they've done some. What have they done recently though?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Ratchet and Clank. They did in the back. Not in the back. In the past, Resistance as well. You know what I'm saying?
They did Sunset Overdrive too.
Sunset, which was an Xbox exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was indeed.
Spider-Man.
But then they came back,
and then of course Spider-Man, the latest from the studio, and I feel like so. I'm trying to think really. So you like you gotta imagine Insomniac's their spot right now, right? They have plenty of really really big titles on PlayStation that they have made. Spyro, huge. Ratchet and Clank, huge. Resistance, I think pretty big.
Pretty big, yeah.
I think pretty big.
Following at the time.
I don't know about huge, but pretty big. Marvel Spider-Man, huge. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's the best-selling PlayStation exclusive this year, I think. Yeah.
It's something like that, but it is. Well, I mean, with every right. I mean, Marvel Spider-Man is great. It's a great game. It's great. You know what I'm saying? If you guys have the luxury of playing it, I don't know if Jamal's played it, but I assume you've played it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
I haven't played it, but I've seen
it's great.
enough to know what like I've seen enough of it played.
I think they found their niche with that sandbox style, like Superman or superhero style
100%,
gameplay.
100%.
You know, I think they should just take up a different licensed superhero and just have at it. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I think they found so much success with Spider-Man, and it is confirmed that they are working on another Spider-Man. Like, it's not like that was a one and done. No, like they are going to continue. And of course, when you play the game, there are plenty of different avenues that they can go down. That
absolutely,
clear ones. But I think I don't know, because I'm trying to think like what is there necessary to lose, because I know Sunset Overdrive did really well, right? I think I know it did well critically. I know like a lot of people enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it was a fun game for sure.
Right.
I think it was just a stepping stone to Spider-Man, honestly.
100%.
I played quite a bit of it, and I did not enjoy it very much. I mean, like, it was a good game, but it was lacking something, in my opinion.
Right.
But I know it did well. I think it did okay. I think it got like 7s and 8s.
Okay.
There's no way it was like, top of the line. But I think it's going to go to PlayStation. I really think, Insomniac, they started on PlayStation, and I think they left to kind of give Xbox this little bit of
like a try.
Yeah.
A little bump. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, here you go. You guys don't look like you're doing so well right now. Here, have this, and then I like how they're not. My only thing with Insomniac is that if they go to PlayStation, I don't know how I feel about that. They've just been so back and forth. Like they're such a free spirit.
But literally that's what I was about to say. Like you took my thought right out of my mind. Like honestly, like I don't know if it would be worth it for them to be owned by PlayStation. And then not that is that like that necessarily in itself is a negative, because PlayStation seems to be treating them well. You know what I'm saying? Like seems like they've given the resources to be able to create a Spider-Man game, and that didn't ignore. You know what I'm saying? So and with again Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance, like seems like they have a pretty good working relationship with PlayStation, but I don't know if they would rather that or rather still have that, but also have the freedom to work with other people if they ever wanted to. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So it's really like either way, at least from my perspective, it looks like the only way that like they could tarnish their relationship with PlayStation is to be bought by Microsoft, which I don't foresee that happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's why for me that one is a little bit more of a toss-up, just because I don't know if it's worth it to them to be owned by PlayStation or just still have that same bond with Sony and PlayStation and still be kind of second party in a way.
Yeah, because with PlayStation, they have the ability to make games like licensed games, like Spider-Man, and they can continue down that path. But I feel like they're a company that really likes to spread out and do different things. I mean, going from Spyro to Resistance to Spider-Man, they kind of do it all. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if they are purchased by PlayStation, they lose that creative ability.
Another thing they lose, if you think about it, is we're moving towards an era of streaming. You know what I mean? Whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. And if if a company like that gets sold to PlayStation, then that more or less gives PlayStation the rights to all these exclusive games we were just talking about, which they probably have the rights to most of those already, like Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But in an era like this, where you're like a free agent, you know, right now, you lose a lot of like potential like streamability. Like you can't, you know, give your games to other like companies to stream. Like Stadia can't be streaming Sunset Overdrive if PlayStation owns Insomniac or whatever. You know, like.
Wow, that's an interesting point. I've never. Yeah. Wow. Wait, that is a really interesting point. Cause man, like, I guess that. Wow. Wait, you chose. Hold on. You just had me. I gotta step back for a little bit. Wait a minute. That was a really good point because you're right. Streaming is going to be a big forefront. So would it be more wise if it's something that kind of just stayed put? Even though we won't ever see Spider-Man, for example, like be on like Stadia, not only because it's not owned by Insomniac, it's owned by PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual IP. But you're right. If they were purchased by PlayStation, then they don't even have the luxury of making their own IP and putting it somewhere else other than PlayStation if they're owned by them, because they're owned by them.
And this really applies to any developer that already has like an existing roster of games that they could offer. You know, I mean, it increases your value as a developer. I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like generally speaking, you know, of course there's some you know, things where that this doesn't line up, but I feel like generally speaking, if you're third party, you have a higher chance of making more profits. That just makes more sense. Like you have the ability to be on more platforms than a exclusively owned one. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So interesting. What do you guys know about Housemarque?
Housemarque, is that a developer?
Yes.
Yeah, Housemarque Games. But what do they make again?
They have done the Resogun, which was a PS4 launch title, Super Stardust HD, Nex Machina, and now they're
I've heard of Nex Machina.
Yeah.
That's the only one so far.
Right. Okay, so I love Resogun. They did Resogun. I absolutely adore Resogun. It is a great game, and they make more like top-down, like arcadey games. That's like kind of what niche. But recently, I know they are working on a kind of like futuristic battle royale, but it's only for PC right now. And like, there's a beta that you can go into right now and play it as they develop the game on PC. But obviously, like we said before,
what's that game called?
I'm on Mac. I can probably look it up right now for you real quick for that game. But Housemarque is an interesting one that I think is more. It's called Storm Divers.
Wow.
That's the game. It's called Storm Divers. Yeah.
I think for some reason I've always called them Housemarque. Is that am I wrong? Housemarque games. So I think that's my bad.
No, so I used to call them Housemarque. Then I hear Colin Moriarty. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Colin Moriarty.
Yeah.
He says Housemarque. So I'm like, okay, I think that's how you say it.
We can blame him if we're wrong.
Yeah, see, I never know with that dude. I feel like he sticks to his guns so hard that like even if he's wrong, he's gonna keep saying it that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like
that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. Admittedly, I guess we'll say here we don't know how to pronounce Housemarque or Housemarque, but I hope y'all know what we're talking about.
From this point on, they're Housemarque.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
How
kidding,
about
no.
you know why not Housemarque?
Oh, I like that.
It's
got a nice ring to it.
I like it. Like, yo, welcome to the Housemarque E3 2020 press conference. How you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like a beverage, like
Housemarque. It does sound like a Housemarque.
Yeah.
I want to drink a drink called Housemarque, admittedly, honestly.
I'll take the Housemarque.
With an extra shot of espresso in it.
Let me get a Housemarque up, neat olives, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as for the games, like honestly, I don't know many of their games.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not too informed about Housemarque.
Admittedly, this one is pretty niche. I'm a sucker for Resogun. I love Resogun. It's super fun. But so just to overall just kind of say about that studio, other than their new game, Storm Divers, which is a battle royale, I believe it's third person. I believe it's a third person futuristic battle royale game, which is the first type of game that they've ever done for that studio. But most times they do a more top-down, like arcadey type style, which a lot of people would bet on that definitely being bought. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that would be a lot more of a clear statement if we were in the era of like Resogun being big and Super Stardust HD being big and Next Machina. But with Storm Divers, like at least from how it's rolling out, it's looking not to be the biggest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I think
that's like one of the only battle royales I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard of it. Yeah, so I'm not sure at this point, but maybe they buy them, maybe they put it on PlayStation, maybe they kind of make it like their answer to like a first party battle royale, which I don't think needs to be filled, but that could be something that they are trying to establish in the PlayStation ecosystem. So I think maybe, you know what I'm saying?
I haven't
like,
even thought about that. Yeah. Does anybody have a first party battle royale right now?
Well, I mean, I have a big gripe on PlayStation, at least during this era of the PS4, being so like lacking on exclusive multiplayer experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, to
it's
this
mainly
day,
single player stuff.
Exactly. To this day, literally, still the best PlayStation exclusive game that you have that has a really great multiplayer is Last of Us. Like literally, that's it. Because Factions is big. Like Factions is great. Number one.
Last of Us was fun multiplayer. I mean,
surprisingly,
it's real good.
That was a very strange multiplayer.
I still play it weekly, mainly for the series that we do. But it is such a good multiplayer. But like honestly, that was their last big multiplayer that was actually really good. You know, I believe
that's a really good point. I believe
Shadowfall had multiplayer, but again, didn't really pop that big. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's my big. So like maybe, you know, in a feature, like in a way, House Marquet could be their like next big multiplayer answer. Yeah, that's what I could see that, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I think that one's a pretty decent chance, honestly. But I think
they need a game like Cuphead or something where you know what I mean? That's like a 2-player, like a co-op focused kind of game. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, because like you will hear from a lot of people, and like I definitely see this point where like a lot of people, you know, say that PlayStation games, generally speaking, at least all the big ones, have a pretty like similar type of gameplay format in terms of being third person action adventure, usually, whether it be like, you know, obviously there are the more linear ones like Order 1886, and then there's the more RPG ones like Horizon, or the more open world ones like, again, Horizon, as well as like a hub world based like God of War, or a open world like Spider-Man. But generally speaking, they all are third person action adventure games, like when you boil it down to like its greatest common denominator.
I mean, I feel you. Fortunately for me, that's like my favorite kind of game, so it kind of works out in my favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look,
I can see how that would be annoying for the average person. You know what I mean? Like,
me, I'm not complaining. Like, I love these games. You feel me? Like Uncharted as well, which I don't think I even brought up yet at all.
Oh man, no,
Uncharted. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely amazing, and like that also falls in that kind of linear, again, third person action adventure. But there was an argument that a lot of people have that like they wish that PlayStation had like more different type of genres, you know, in their first party, you know, things. Which I think if buying Housemarque, them having like arcade games in the past, and then now there's Battle Royale, maybe that could be a way to mix up the pot in terms of genres, you know, and have something a little bit different, you know. And that's why I thought it was a really good bet that they're not to go back and fully in the topic, but like Supermassive, them making you know, Until Dawn, which is very much like a Telltale-esque type of game where you're making decisions and, you know, making choices. I thought they would be or at least Quantic Dream as well.
Well, especially with Telltale dying and dead in the water, basically. There's this huge void in the market now where like Don't Nod, Quantic Dream, and Supermassive could all really shine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it would be smart for PlayStation to buy one of those three companies.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I think it'd be very good. 100%. I agree. And also to just like side shout out, Don't Nod, Life is Strange is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Have you been playing season 2
I have. I think I messed
The wait between episodes is killing me.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm like, yo!
Are you about to say you think you messed up on the last episode? Because I think I did too.
No, I think I messed up on how I should have played Life is Strange 2. I should have waited until it all came out and just
Yeah,
binged it.
me too. It's
Like,
so
this is
crazy.
really
Like,
killing it, you know? At least for me.
and then they don't even give you a real recap. It's like they give you the Wolf Brother story, and it's like, that's cute and all, but it's been 2.5 months. Like, I need the real story. Like,
That's cute and all, but seasons have changed since the last time you put out an episode. So I'm gonna need you to recap this a little bit better. Like, we have a new president, I bet. Like, something crazy like that.
right? Like,
But
jeez.
no, but it is. Again, we're going off on a tangent. We have one more studio to go over, but like just a quickly rant about Don't Nut, if I may. The Life is Strange episode 1, sorry, Life is Strange 2 episode 1 came out, I think, in October of 2018.
Yeah,
right?
maybe even earlier than that. Like, it was
honestly,
forever ago.
Could have been September.
Yeah,
I forgot.
it was.
But I know it was like fall 2018, right? Literally, I believe the last episode for Life is Strange 2 is coming out in December of this year. So
Yeah.
you're telling me that you have a year and like 2 or 3 month window to put out 5, and that's how far it is?
It better be the best fucking
It's insane.
ending ever.
I'm like, yo. I'm like, dog,
Oh,
these
geez.
all should have came out by the summertime.
If I wasn't such a huge Life is Strange fan, I would just give up on it probably. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't because, like, I mean, I am liking it because I love Life is Strange. But I
Yeah.
hate how long it's taking. But,
the game itself so far is really good, though.
yeah, so far I like it. But the last video here, unless you have other ones that I'm not thinking of, which feel free if you have any. But the last one here is, what do you guys let me just ask you. What does the game Shadow of Colossus come to mind with you guys? I know that's a pretty big game. I've never played it, unfortunately. It was big on PS2. Do y'all have any thoughts on Shadow of the Colossus by Blue Point Games, the studio here in question?
Oh, it's an awesome game. I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. You know, it's big, it's beautiful, it's cinematic, and it's just boss fights, more or less. I mean, it's really fun. I don't know. Like, mainly, the main, like, gameplay is just trying to climb up the beasts to get to their weak spots, you know?
Really?
So it's kind of like a platformer almost in a
Okay,
way.
so it's like a platformer thing. Is it difficult? Like, I don't even know.
Sometimes. Some of
Okay.
them are harder than others. It's all about finding out what you have to do and then doing it. Because you have these huge monsters, and then you have to, like, kill it. But basically, your swords and stuff do nothing. So you have to, like, find the weak point and then find a way to get to the weak point. So, like, every monster is different, and, like, there's a different strategy you have to do to, like, fight it. It's like
Okay.
Dark Souls, but not hard. And I mean, it's not
I
like,
see.
stupid hard. You know what I mean? Like,
I see.
it's really cool, though.
Speaking of Dark Souls, this development studio, Blue Point Games, they are very big on like making remakes and remasters. Like like they were behind the Shadow of the Colossus remake that came out recently, as well as the Demon Souls remake, which they are
Really?
rumored to be working. Well, they're rumored to be working on the Demon Souls remake. That's what is being rumored right now, and that's essentially like what they do. Is they are a studio that is really good at making remakes and remasters, and stuff like that. And so I don't believe they've made an original IP or like they've made a new game. I'm pretty sure all they've done, unless I'm completely wrong, is remakes and remasters. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like. So that's what I was going to ask you. Like, did you play the Shadow of the Colossus remake or you didn't?
You know, actually, I played the remake a little bit, but I played the original one all the way through.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I
Okay.
played the remake enough to where I saw like how graphically splendid it was, but more or less they did a wonderful job. I mean, it's almost the same game mechanically. It just looks different. You know
see.
what I mean?
Okay, I see. So like, excuse me. Oh, young. Excuse me. It is 9:30 at night. My bad. Sorry. What was I gonna say? So I guess from the perspective of like the original on the PS2 versus the remake, you know, obviously it's gonna look better. You know, over a decade's passed, I'm assuming, since it came out, probably a lot more than that. But would you say that like it was a really good remake out of the remakes you've probably played in the past? Like, would you say like it was a really, really good remake that they did? with Shadow
I'd say
of the
it's really
Colossus?
good. I'd say it's just as good or better than the Spyro or the Crash Bandicoot remakes that came out recently. I know it's not really the same kind of art style and stuff. It's like more of a realistic kind of thing, you know.
Right.
But as far as quality goes, like it's really good in the sense that they preserve like the gameplay really well and kept the feeling of it, but like the aesthetics are just totally different.
Right.
A lot of you can tell a lot of the things that like they probably wanted to do with the original game are really coming through, like the light rays that come down, and like there's like part of the mechanics of the game are like you hold your sword up in the air and like a light comes off your sword that like takes you to the Colossus or whatever, or Colossi, I don't know, whatever. But it's really pretty in the remake game, just everything is really pretty in the remake game, and the horse riding feels and looks better,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I could see PlayStation buying them specifically, mainly because of like how, at least the way you're wording it, it seems like they are very skilled at like, not that I don't think that like if PlayStation were to buy them that they would continue to be just as remaster development studio. I feel like they will have the freedom to make a new IP or a new game and stuff like that. But I think based off of the way that they have done these remakes and remasters, they seem to be talented at what they do, and it seems to be like knowing how to transition like an old IP into the modern day. You know what I'm saying? So I think like that shows a lot of their talent and skill set. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, and there's a lot of old Sony IPs that they could get their teeth into and really rejuvenate. I think
For the love of God, if they ever make an Infamous remaster, I'm really gonna lose it.
I almost said that earlier. I think that it would be super cool if they got the Spider-Man team and they gave them the rights to the Infamous game and just did a whole new Infamous game with them, dude. I think that would be sick. Did you play Second Son?
I did.
Second Son.
I'm
one of my faves.
I'm a big Infamous fan. I love it.
Oh, they're all great, but Second Son was so much fun to me. I don't know.
For me, my favorite's still Infamous 2. I think Infamous 2 is a banger. But yeah, no, oh man.
That was on my list of best PS3 games on the most recent episode of the podcast we did.
The day Infamous remake or remaster ever gets announced, I don't think I'm gonna live through that day. I'm gonna keep it honest. Like, really, I love Infamous. But is there any other studios that I didn't talk about?
I got one.
Okay.
I got one for you.
Hit me.
Have you played Persona 5?
This is the one. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, look here. Again, let me do a little prefacing because I get comments all the time. Look here. I understand Persona is good. Right? I understand it, right? And quite honestly, I own a Vita, and I don't have Persona 4 Golden, even though I know I should.
Don't even worry about that. I haven't played Persona 4 Golden either. I need a Vita. I don't have a Vita. Otherwise, I would have bought it already.
I love a Vita.
But don't feel like you have to play Persona 4 Golden or even any of the other Persona games. Like, they're all their own little contained story that won't affect the other games. You know what I mean? So
I know that. But what's mainly holding me back from playing a Persona is that I understand that it is, at minimum 80, 90-hour game. You know what I'm saying?
Minimum, yeah.
Like, I just don't have that time to devote to this game.
But see, you think you don't have that time, but it's one of those games where you don't have to sit there for like 10 hours at a time or some shit to enjoy it. Like, you can sit there for as long or as little as you want and still have a good time. Like, you can play 5 minutes at a time. You know what I mean? For the rest of your life. And do one playthrough. No, but it's really good, man. It's not as much of a time, like, I don't know. It seems like a commitment. You know what I mean? But then before you know it, you're 69 hours in, and you're like, oh, man, I hope this game doesn't end soon. You know what I mean? Like,
amount of hours to
I don't know.
that
Sometimes
game.
you just got to 69 it. But... But no, it's an amazing game, man. And honestly, give it a couple hours of your time. If you don't like it, just shut it on off. You know what I mean? You can probably get it for like $20 right now. Yeah. So I mean, it's not very much of a money commitment. And if you do end up liking it, then you have like almost an endless game to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't, then so be it.
I'm trying to remember why am I forgetting the developer Persona? I know it. Help me out. Who
Atlas.
I was about to say Atlas. I wasn't sure if it was them. Okay, Atlas.
They also did Catherine, which is a pretty big deal.
Right.
Which I feel like those types of games would be like perfectly at home on the PlayStation.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they are. Excuse me for yawning again. I'm sorry, folks, but their games aren't on other platforms, right? As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they are.
No, Catherine is.
Catherine's on Xbox.
They have some kind of deal with the Persona series and PlayStation, but some of their other games are on other platforms. They have a couple other games that aren't like that I don't care about, so I don't really know their names.
Right. But they do the Tales games.
Tales of Vesperia, them?
I don't think so.
No, they don't do Tales.
They might. I'm not sure, but I'm not.
I'm pretty sure they do Tales, actually. I'm a lie. They do way too many games.
They do a lot of games
to get stuck on PlayStation.
I don't know, man. I think that they would fit so good on PlayStation just because they got that Japanese thing going on with most of their games, and like I don't know.
It just
and like he was saying earlier, you know, the variety needs to be spiced up a little bit.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, they do like
a lot of Persona spin-offs.
Yeah.
It just seems like when I think of Persona, like I think of PlayStation. Obviously, you know.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
They don't do the Tales game.
You know, I've almost bought a Vita several times just to play those games. But anyways, I think I want to, man. I like the idea of a Vita, you know, and I had so much fun with my PSP back in the day that I've always wanted to get a Vita, you know?
Look, man, the Vita's a great console. I don't care what anyone says.
That's what I've heard. I don't care what anybody says either.
The Vita has so many good games. Freedom Wars is like one of like my favorite games of all time. And it's only on Vita.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Freedom Wars is such a banger. Oh my god, I love. And Gravity Rush, which started on Vita, but Gravity Rush 2 only came to PS4. Complete slap in the face of Vita, but okay, it's fine. You know what I'm saying?
I played Gravity Rush on PlayStation Now. Have you ever used PlayStation Now?
I have.
That's a pretty cool little service. But I played it on. I played Gravity Rush on PlayStation Now. It's pretty.
It's great. It's great. But if there are any other studios that you guys can think of, feel free to shout out now. But if not, forever hold your peace.
I think that's it. I think we covered.
I think you covered like all the main ones. Man.
Oh, I know there were dumb rumors like 6 months ago about PlayStation buying Rockstar. Like, come on. Come on, like guys.
Like Rockstar bought PlayStation.
Like guys, let's be real. Yeah, or that. I'm like, guys, there is no way in hell.
Why would they do that?
Dude,
Why would they?
There's no way in hell Rockstar would tie themselves down to one console.
No.
Never,
well, I mean, they started that way. They started on the PlayStation.
They did start on the PlayStation, but that's just like.
And then I remember when they came to the original Xbox, and everybody was just like,
"Oh, that was life changing." Whenever they put out Vice City and stuff on the Xbox, man, I remember I bought the collection.
Yeah,
dude.
they did a little collector's.
As far as I'm aware, right, this may or may not have changed, but I'm pretty sure if it has changed, we would have heard by it by now, right? But I'm pretty sure this still stands as a fact that GTA 5 has not left the top 10 most games sold monthly since it came out.
Not only that, but it's been like number one a lot of those months. You know what I mean? Including months where it's like other big titles have come out. It doesn't make sense. It's still selling incredibly well.
I think that's a fact, and I don't understand. Like,
no, it is a fact. It is a fact.
Who is buying GTA 5? Like, okay, honestly,
that's what I want to know. Like,
I have a last theory.
Already buy it already?
I think okay. So, it was my little brother's birthday a few years ago, right? You know, me being the Sony pony PlayStation fanboy over here, you know what I'm saying?
Sony
I like that.
Boys, Sony ponies, what's good? So anyway, right? So he was saying, "Yo, Kevs, I want an Xbox." I'm like, "You want an Xbox? Excuse me? Like, in this household? Excuse me?" But
not in this
he really wanted one. So I'm like, you know what? All right, Kev. You know, put down the Sony pony moniker and just buy him an Xbox. It's all good, right? Go to my GameStop, looking through the games, right? And the only game I got him was GTA 5. Like, what other game are you going to get when you buy a new console? Like, be honest. Like what is the one game that has a pretty good story from my here. I never beat the GTA 5 story mode, but
it's great.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
It
pretty
is
good. Has an incredible online, which I put hours on hours into, right?
Also great.
Yeah, I feel like GTA is the game you buy when you first get a console.
Dude, yeah.
How old is your cousin?
It was my little brother. He's like 17, 18, something like that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you said your cousin.
Okay, it's all good. Yeah, I may have said cousin, but I meant my little brother. My bad.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, GTA 5 is like the quintessential game.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I think that's why it sells so
Exactly.
good.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think it's because it's also because like I think more people think like me as opposed to someone else, where like the only game that they would think to buy a person buying a new console is GTA, perhaps. You know.
It's kind of like the variety platter of video games. You know, it's got a little shooting, a little driving.
It's
a
the
little
appetizer
story.
sampler.
Yes, it's the appetizer sampler, dude.
GTA,
You know,
we cracked the code. Holy snap!
that's
All
why
right.
everybody has it, because you got to get it first. You know.
For real, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. If I may, you know what I'm saying. I know I don't host a Cross Circle podcast. But I think this is my first time episode 40
every time.
Christian is a great. He is definitely the one for the job here. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here not giving you guys the topic of the podcast like 20 minutes in. I'm insane. But you know, Cross Circle
cousin, and then he's your brother.
yeah. Something. I'm like
kidding, dude.
I'm getting ages wrong, whatever. But that was Cross Circle. Episode 44. We made it. I think I did an okay job.
You did great.
Hopefully.
Very good job.
But before we head out, let me know where the people can find you two at.
Okay, this is what I'm good for. So, don't go chasing us down on, or actually,
chase us down everywhere. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that look for us on YouTube, but I'm not gonna say it's my last name and my first name, so don't try to do that. Just look for Create for Sanity. That's what I was trying to get at.
All one word.
Yeah, Create for Sanity, one word on YouTube. Find our podcast, GameSpeak Podcast. You can see the shirts right here, createforsanity.com. But the main place you can find it is like Apple Podcasts or basically any podcast app. You know, if you love having a horrible phone and you have an Android, you can find us on there too. You know, so like just any podcast app.
I did love that Android slander. I did enjoy that. I do. Like, people, listen, this may be a bit shallow. One might say this is a bit overdoing it, right? But, you know, I am recently a single man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. You know, I'm back in the game. Hey, tears were shed, but now we're good. We're good, right? You know what I'm saying?
Need someone to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, now this has happened like once, right? I have given the girl my number, right? You know what I'm saying? She gives me hers back, whatever. And I do that first text, that first stride, right? If I see a green bubble,
dang,
it is a big issue. I don't know if I would ever stop talking to a girl that has green bubbles and an Android phone, but I just might.
Dang, that's serious, man.
Like there's just so many. Like, if I want to FaceTime you, I can't just FaceTime you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
And like,
what does the green bubble mean?
It means that they don't have an iPhone.
It means that they don't have an iPhone. It means they're on
man.
It means they're on
I didn't
Android.
know.
They don't have iMessage.
That makes me wonder if that iPhone you have is even a real iPhone, or maybe you just talk to so many like legit people.
Yeah. I think it's the opposite. I think I talked to so many unlegit people. I didn't realize.
Wow.
That is it.
I didn't realize that's what it was.
But is it safe to say? That I can link your YouTube in the description? Is that
Absolutely.
cool?
Yeah, of course.
I know we don't want to say it on the podcast, but I will link it.
Yeah, I'll send
below.
it to you. Be sure to check out GameSpeak podcasts on basically any podcast app. If you just want to listen to it in audio, and then we do have the video version of it go up every single week on Wednesday morning every week it goes up. So audio, video, we got Couch Bro Op on this very couch happening on YouTube every Saturday morning.
I get it because like Saturday morning cartoons, like Couch Bro Op. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan. But for you all here on PlayStation Source, make sure to go check out the Cross Circle podcast. Every Monday gets uploaded on YouTube, the video version, as well as audio versions across all different podcast services, including Apple Podcasts. Right after you follow the good Gaming Speak podcast, make sure to subscribe to the PlayStation Source podcast feed, where you can catch the Cross Circle podcast every Monday, as well as Road to Part 2, our weekly, not new series, our weekly series about Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2, all things Last of Us, the weekly show we do here on the channel as well. And you can catch that right after you watch the content on the Game Speaks YouTube. You can watch their stuff on Wednesday, and then also catch Road to Part 2 right after on Wednesday as well. Also gets uploaded Wednesday morning, you know what I'm saying? So definitely check out those two if you will. And then Friday, we have the Save Slot news show where we go over any and all thing first party and third party news revolving around PlayStation. But most importantly, make sure to go check out our links below where you can find our Discord, our Twitter, follow us on there, as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Like the podcast if you enjoyed it. And I should have, okay, this is a quick non sequitur when I say, and as always, you say greatness awaits, okay? The podcast didn't hear that. Okay, we're back.
Got it.
I should have told you guys before. Thank you all for watching or listening. And as always,
greatness awaits.
Wait, can we try that again?
Sorry.
You want to do a do-over? I thought it was fine. We can do it again.
Are we? I thought we were doing...
I didn't even say it.
Okay,
because I was like, wait, what did he tell us to say?
All right, we're going to do it again.
Okay.
Okay. Version 2 of the outro. Okay, make sure to check out our links below. Like I said before, Twitter, Discord, Anchor, down below where you can find our different links to our different podcast services that we're live on. Thank you for watching. And as always,
greatness awaits.
Hey, that was good. Okay, beautiful.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having us on the show, man.
Of course.
Thanks for having us, man.